Hello. Hey, so it's been a while and I have some news for you guys.
Oh, somebody,
Yeah.
we need some milk.
Life throws lots of curveballs at you. So I've been trying to, still keep this project going with the Odin and doing this, but turns out I'm going to do a side quest project. So my side quest is going to go throughout this Chicago API. Okay. So within their API, they have a good, I guess, best practice in how to even begin setting up your call to their API. And the things that matter to me are only 3 things. And here's the link that I'm going to use. Up here, let me go ahead and copy that. So let's go ahead and make that variable, which will be let URL call to the API. I'm going to put all these links in the description so you guys can find it for yourself. That I also made a guide here on how we're going to do this. Let's make a constant. Well, it's not a constant, excuse me. Of all the elements that we really need within our file. This image here. I need this as well, the title of the image and kind of like some subtext. If we look here at the HTML of this, I went ahead and made everything with an ID. In my previous video, I feel like getting an item by an ID is literally the easiest way to get it. So I'm gonna fast forward here. You guys do not need to watch me write every one of these IDs out. Let's go ahead and just get a basic template for fetching something from an API. So this one looks really like mentally, I figured this makes sense. So I'm gonna get this one. Let's go ahead and start the shell of the fetch thing. So we're gonna call this URL because it's based off of this right here. Then it's gonna do this. If anything bad comes back, it's going to catch it and tell me the error here. This converts everything, like it gets the API and converts it into JSON so it can easily actually like read it and you can pull things from it. I want to call this data. See what happens. I'm going to go ahead and save this. All of these pagination, ID, we don't need all that. We need just specifically the array of 60. Use dot notation here and you can get into what you need. Out of that array of 60, the 10th one or it's really 11th, go ahead and console log one of these two. Okay, so let's save this now and we're gonna see the original, the stuff that we actually need, and then this is just a random one. I picked number 10. All right, so and what we really need is this, right? So this is just cleaning it up. Now, I need to see if is public domain true, because that's the most important thing, because I'm not trying to get sued using these images. So now we're gonna go into a function. How to filter using their array prototype filter method. Thing for me is it's me and syntax. The more you do it, you're gonna get better. But let's just go ahead and copy this because it's already halfway there and I can take some of the words out. Array. Because that's very easy. Words. We don't need that. This is something that they're making up. Our array that we were starting with was starter. Like, that's why I called it that. So we're gonna filter this starter array. Now we need to go through all of them. So let's make up a single item. Like, let's just call it art collection. And we want to filter it by public domain. Like, we need to make sure that's true, because if it's not true, I'm gonna get sued. So probably not, they're not watching me. So starter array, we're filtering it by a single entity's art collection. One art collection, is that public domain true? So we're one step closer to getting this thing working. So let's create a new function now. Let's call it change art, I guess. The first thing we need to do is get a random number generator. Okay, so I made a cute little list here on what we need to do going throughout this process. Random number generator will be random, and then you times it by whatever you want. Like if you want a number between 1 and 100, you would literally put 100 right here. But since our new array, we don't know how much the length of it is. It can change because I'm telling you, this API has over 12,000 art collections. We're just gonna have it automatically acclimate however many that is, right? So let's put new array dot length. It will always be the correct number based off of what we previously have. Let's solidify the art collection. So I'll call it, I mean, to keep it on par, I can call it anything. I can call it post, I can call it entity at hand, object chosen. Let's just keep it with, you know, our continuity. I'll say art call. It's gonna be the new array with whatever random number it chooses, right? X, what we just made up above it. So now, let's see what my notes say we should do next. So we filter through it and it's gonna get our thing. Great, we're on the track here. Now we have a function that when it clicks, it will do something. Great. And I put kind of a fail safe in here. This is gonna be like a refresh button. We're gonna put down here a quick event listener. Event listener. We're gonna listen out for a click, right? So we put that in quotes, click, and then I want it to run this function here. Let's go ahead and give it some like to-do items. API title, and we have subhead and image. Yeah, those are all things that need to change. When you change text, you can either use inner text, you can use text content, and you can use inner text. For this one, let's use dot text content. See, this is property you could put on there. We're gonna have it equal the art collection at hand. We have within that bigger object, we see, is it public domain, is a stipulation in there, title is a stipulation, ID is a stipulation. I'll show you right here in a second. We're gonna have it be art collection dot title. Another thing we need to do is subhead. This is basically going to be the artist's name. Subhead dot, this time let's make it say inner text. These kind of essentially do the same thing. Art collection dot, pull that up, and we're going to put this in a kind of like a cute little quote by the artist, whatever his name is going to be. So let's go ahead and save this. Actually worked. By the ancient Greek. Head of a woman is the title of the art, and it's by this person. Now I have yet to do the image because that one takes a little bit more thinking. If you look here, the documentation gives you kind of like a how-to easily to use their program. Let's go ahead and take this as an example. This out and begin making our version of the URL, right? I'm gonna essentially set a new variable to be kind of a shell for this. So let image source equal this and put it in quotes. They already also left out this character here, identifier. That's what we're gonna have to find. Now if we go back to our thing here, image ID, this long number right here. So that is really important. Let me copy that. If I look at the docs identifier, okay, they have an identifier here too. So let me go ahead and pause it here, put a boop, a quote plus. As we see here, let's do the same thing right here. So we know this is what we want to pull out of it. Art collection dot image ID, and that is its unique identifier. The last thing, set attribute, which is going to be an internal JavaScript method that we can call on our function here. Well, I guess add it to our function. We already have these other two that are built out. Let's go up here to the top to our variable that we already set for ourselves earlier, API image, and put that dot notation in, set attribute. They have it broken up where you put the action which for us is gonna be source, and then we can select the variable that we already take right here above it, put it right at the end. This setup honestly looks very similar to our event listener at the bottom, but now we have all three together, so it should continuously change all three of the elements on click. Okay, good, it's working. Look, the image is changing, the title's changing. Why are there so many plates here? This guy had so many. I want to eventually have a date time change where it knows every hour at 9 a.m. it's gonna change, but for the time being, let's just have it change every 5 to 10 seconds so we can see it in this video. But eventually I will be coming back to tear this up even more. So as you can see here, we have our change image function going on. I did add some stuff in here too since I did CSS. Let's now make it change on cue however we set up the timer. So very similarly, we set a variable, which is set. Well, actually, I copied it earlier. This is from MDN Docs. You put the code you want here, or for us, we're gonna put change image as our function we wanted to call at this interval. It's in milliseconds, so right now we have, let's do, I think 5 seconds, 10,000, I think, milliseconds. So I'm gonna save it now, go back to my thing. This is the original starting out image. I'm gonna click around, it's running, the timer's running all this time, and it just changed. That's how quick and easy set time interval is. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my code. It works, it's changing on its own. See, I was in a whole nother browser and it's changing, running its code. Now I wanted to do it every hour. That'll be a stay tuned for the rest of the Olden project. We've only done one half of it. I had a little setback here with my arm being broken. Scars are made, but yeah, I had a slight delay, but I'm back and I'm gonna try and finish the rest of this project out for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you being here.